hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Dance where we are playing more Final Fantasy XIV. Last episode, I have no idea what happened. Actually, now I would, well, actually, nope, I don't. Anyway, custom deliveries again. We're going to be unlocking the next custom delivery person, the second to last one, and then we're just going to go through the entire quest in this video, and when it will be released, nobody knows. I heard from Aunt Rowena that you're quite the artisan. If that's true, I've got a proposition for you. As I mentioned before, we'd like to think that our relationship with the peoples of the Reach is mutually beneficial. We create jobs and opportunities for people to live better lives. Perhaps you know Monago, one of the leaders of the Resistance. She not only agrees with what I said, but has even taken a personal interest in the collectibles trade. But while I'm sure she's a brilliant soldier with a head for tactics, the collectibles market is an altogether different battlefield. Still, with the help of a few good crafters and gatherers, I'm sure she'll find her footing in no time. That's where you come in. If you want to, that is. Go and see her if you're interested. Or don't. Right. Hello. Good to see you, Lynn. If you're looking for lease. Oh? Who told you I'd taken an interest in a collectibles trade? I'm surprised. I knew you were many things, but an accomplished artisan was not one of them. It would have been fools to turn you away when you offered to help the Resistance, and I'd be a fool to do it now. You're probably wondering why I decided to try my hand at a different trade. Truth is, it's not for me, but for the ones who couldn't be here today. The ones who aren't here to see what we've accomplished. A free Alamigo, a new beginning, a new future. After we defeated Xenos in the 13th, I thought long and hard about what I ought to do next. I was with the relatives of some of the dead in recompense when I realized I'd lost comrades, but them? They'd lost husbands and wives, mothers and fathers. Breadwinners. Every day would be harder than the last. We'd won them freedom, aye. The freedom to be poor and die starving. Where's the justice in that? So I decided I'd do something about it. I'd establish a fund to the widows and the orphans. A way of giving a little back in honor of those who gave us their all. There was just one problem. I don't know the first thing about making gil. Other than soldiering, my only other talent was hunting. And I'll not raise more than a fraction of what I need selling pelts. But when little Galliana told me about collectibles and the prices people were willing to pay, I knew I'd find the answer. I'll not deny I've got a lot to learn, but I'm ready and willing to give it my all. So, what say you? Up for helping me fill custom orders for a good cause? Of course, I'll not ask you to do it for free. You'll get your cut, script good with any of the house's people. Glad to have you on board. First order of business, I'm in the market for some Girabanian souvenirs. Since the liberation of Alamigo, trade with other regions has been steadily increasing. Commodities people had to struggle to get are easier to obtain, and people are getting a taste for more and more Gridanians in particular. Got a feeling this is going to be the start of something special. Camperito. Custom deliveries unlocked. Right, I'm gonna be right back because I'm gonna make some of these things and rank up. So I'll be right back. Right, as I live and breathe. Make delivery, skip the massive tutorial. Yes, I'm full on scripts, I am aware. And I do not care, haha! It's always a funny one. Alright, Monago. What doth he have to say to me? The Gridanian collector sent their warmest regards, then. The items he provided were quite well received, I'm told. thanks to the contributions of you and others, we've earned enough guild to start providing payments to some of the bereaved families. In fact, a young woman from one such family is here today and would like to say a few words. My name is Germain, miss. I joined the resistance together with my father, but when the Imperials attacked the Reach, he was killed. I'm grateful for what you've done, I am. I won't deny it's been hard ever since he passed, but I wasn't expecting anything. Nor do I think I deserve it, but thank you all the same. I didn't want to be a soldier when I was little. I wanted to learn things, get an education. Didn't work out that way on account of the occupation, of course. That's why father and I joined the fight. But now that the occupation's ended, I've been thinking. When Alamigo needed soldiers, I became one, but now Alamigo needs learned men and women. So I'm thinking that's what I'll use your guild to finally become. Thank you for this opportunity, miss. Xenos himself cut her father down when he came to the Reach that day. From what I heard, he died giving his daughter a chance to escape. We all had to make choices that day. I was wounded, so chose to flee with Kryle and some few others. But I wanted to stay and fight. I told him. I screamed at him. But Meffred, he wouldn't hear it. So he stayed and I ran. I lived and he died. Came to light recently that he had family too. A wife and child. Never mentioned them before, so I had no idea. I'd like to help them like the other families, but we don't know where they go to. Wait, what? We don't know where they got to, or even if they're still alive. But we'll keep on searching until they do. Until we do. I can't read. In the meantime, I'll have to content myself with helping those I can, and I do hope I can continue to count on you for assistance. This is but the first step on an endless road. Full many of our friends died, and we owe it to them to do right by their loved ones. And we will, Lynn. I know we will. Where there's a will, there's a way. Satisfaction up. Right, and well, I'm going to be right back for you guys. Actually, there's another thing. Hello. There's something in particular needing to be said. We did well with those Gridanian collectors, but we'll need to expand if you want to continue raising money for the fund. In short, I'd like to start dealing in Far Eastern collectibles. Apparently, according to General Aldin, there are a number of wealthy individuals in Ul'dah with a deep and abiding love for all things Hingan. It goes without saying that the Ul'dah elite have more gil to spend than their Gridanian counterparts on average, so I expect we can turn a greater profit with this venture. It'll be more work than before, but I know you're up to the task. Funny. There we go. Alright, my friends, I'm gonna be right back for you guys, and for me it's gonna be like another week. Actually, no, it's gonna be one day, if I do it tomorrow in any case, which I don't know. So yeah, BRB. Alright, I am back for another week of custom delivery stuff. Hello, Minago. Take all of this Far Eastern stuff. Give it to me. Hand it over. That thing you have. Your purple scripts. Also, if you can hear anything in the background, my air conditioning unit is on because I need it in this weather. Otherwise, recording would be, well, it would be as it used to be, which is hell. And I would rather avoid that if I can. It's even better than we hoped, Lynn. Those old Dani collectors did their best to outbid each other for Far Eastern collectibles. The proceeds exceeded our expectations. We've enough to expand our operation and start looking after even more families. Excuse me, well, no one of consequence, really. It was my son who fought and died for the Resistance. I came to thank you for your kindness and generosity, especially at a time like this, when everyone should be looking to bigger and more important challenges, like the rebuilding of our great nation. My son liked to say that when the fighting was finished, he would become a merchant. He'd sell anything and everything so that he could earn money and look after me. I suppose, in a way, he is now, but I'd give it all up, and more if... I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect for what you've done for me and mine, but... Thank you, miss. Good day to you. Her son died when the main tower at Specula Imperatoris fell. I was with Conrad before it happened, with him and with him when he was urging urging those damn fool skulls to lay down their arms and surrender. And he managed to do it. And then... Part of me still wonders, after. Did we owe it to them to try and save them too? To dig through the rubble and try to help the ones who were trying to kill us only moments before? Conrad would have wanted it, I know, but he was in no state to give orders. And those of us that were, well... So he died, and they died. Conrad, our comrades, enemies that surrendered and those that didn't. Death all around and round. Not that any of us even had an inkling of what was coming. Would Conrad have spent all that time negotiating if he had? Would he and full many others still be alive if he had? If... sodding if... Sorry, no use dwelling on it. Best to look to the here and now. To what good we have done, and what more we can do. I'll just talk about Conrad. I don't know if you knew, but he had a wife. Not taken any guilt of her yet. Reckon she'd like to refuse until she knows the others are being looked after. So I thought it best to wait. When the time comes, though, perhaps we ought to go and see her together. Sure. I feel like I botched the reading of that in its entirety. Oh well. Sounds like a non-issue. Also, I think there's going to be more cutscene, yeah? Like before, I reckon it'll be best if we try to trade in a more diverse range of collectibles. Next, I'm thinking we ought to try our hand at consolation prizes from the Gold Saucer. I trust you're familiar with the saucer and its many delights. It's no secret, but in case you weren't aware, it employs more than a few Alamegans. One of them happens to be a friend of mine. I mentioned the fund one day, and just like that we got ourselves a new partner in crime. Let me explain. There are prizes available only at the Gold Saucer. Commodities sold exclusively to them by certain select suppliers. We are now one of them. Savvy? I'll wager you didn't think a soldier like me had any truck with places like the Saucer, eh? Bet you're wondering if I might run off with our profits and spend it all on MGP and silly hats? With hair like this? Like hells I will. Alright, enough talk. Let's get to work. But the hats are the best part. Anyway. I will be right back for another week of this. Right, I'm back. Another week. More custom deliveries. Hello. Take this. Have this random stuff. And potentially give me a quest? I don't know. Good news then, the constellation prices we sold to the Gold Saucer turned out to be more popular than we ever imagined. More profits means more aid for the families. In fact, we've got enough to go around now that I doubt Conrad's widow will object to taking some for herself. So also we found Mefred's widow. I have a mind to visit the both of them to deliver their bit, and soon. I think I mentioned this to you before, but I was hoping you'd want to come with me when I do, on account of your connections. When you're up for it, just let me know. Guess that's the second to last one. Okay. No quest, okay. So it is gonna be a quest, alright. So, you're ready then? Good. This is long overdue. We'll start by paying a visit to Mefred's widow. She's living in Alagiri with her daughter. I'll need a moment to gather my things, so go on ahead and I'll meet you there. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da, da-da-da. This is a girl and a little girl. I asked them to meet us here so we might have a bit of privacy. Put that away. I'll not pretend we've got it easy, but I never asked for anyone's charity. Least of all his. Our marriage as it was ended ages ago. But I don't understand. What is there to? He said he wanted to fight the good fight, but was afraid of putting us in danger. It was all bollocks. and we both knew it at the time. Fighting for your homeland sounds noble, it does, but it was nothing more than an excuse to not be beholden to his wife and daughter any longer. You're wrong about him, and I can prove it. There's something else I brought for you. What is this, a charm? Mifrid's. He was holding it when he died. Lynn can attest to that. Not a ward of the destroyer, but a hand-carved wooden charm, with the faces of a mother and a child. Don't you see? What mattered to him most in his final moments wasn't his homeland or his faith, it was... Yes. Mifrid. That's what I believe, at least, but I won't presume to claim I know him better than you did. I do know he'd want to have you to have this money, though, if not for yourself, for your little girl. Thank you for everything. I'll be sure to put it to good use. Algiers had more than its fair share of Imperial soldiers during the occupation. No one with any ties to resistance was safe here. I imagine that played a part in the decisions Mifrid made. Who knows why he never told us? For their sake or for his? Maybe both? No use dwelling on it. From here we've got to continue east to see Conrad's widow. He had her hiding in an abandoned village deep in the mountains for some time. But now that the occupation's ended, there's no need for that. She's living in the Alamegan quarter at present. I'll lead the way. I don't think I'm ever in my life going to like weekly content. Or daily content for that matter. Well, actually, dailies are fine. Well, even then. Actually, no, they're not. I'm wrong. When you're making a playthrough like this, and it's weird. It may sound very weird, but for me to, like, every week have to record to keep, like, up with the content so that I don't waste too many weeks of time is a pain in the ass. Mrs. Creed, she's been waiting a long time to meet us. The Domin Enclave is horrible. The amount of work it takes me is not fun. Even like it doesn't take a lot of work in gameplay. It takes a lot of work for me to record and read it all like week after week, instead of whatever. Enough complaining. I've heard stories about your fund and what you've done for the families of the fallen. It's good you're doing. It's good work you're doing, and Conrad would be proud. And you must be Lynn. I'm grateful to you beyond measure for what you did for my husband and for our homeland. There's no need to stand on our account. Please take a seat. Told you about my legs, did he? Well, I'm too proud to say no. I'm not too proud to say no, or I think, whatever. He taught me a lot about you too, Managa. Enough that I'm half tempted to call you Naga, even though he didn't. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. We never had a child of our own, and yet the way his face would light up when he spoke of you and your mischief, like a father boasting about his little girl, couldn't help but think of you in that way too, sometimes. He was a father to us all in a way, and we're all better for his guidance. I wish I could have done more to repay the favor when he was alive, or to you now, but all I've got to offer is that guilt and my gratitude. You've all done so much more than you realize. You've changed people, spurred them to strive to be better. Like the young man who's helping me. Speaking of which. Just like the young man who's helping me. Speaking of which. Sorry, I can't read. Mrs. Creed, I've went and bought those things you wanted. Wait, I know that voice, but from where? Specular Imperators, you were the one speaking for the skulls, but how? I thought you all died in the main tower. You've got good ears. Aye, you're right. I'm Rudolph, and I was one of the Craniolupi. I don't remember much of it, but when the tower came down, hit my head or something. All I remember was waking up beneath a pile of rubble. Lucky to be alive. Fair enough, but tell me why you would come here. Where else could I go? Apparently the Imperials were willing to kill me, and the Resistance weren't like to treat me any better, I reckoned. Best chance I had was to take off my uniform and join Desolate. I had no idea what had happened, to be honest. It was until later that I learned Commander Kemp himself had died in the battle. Didn't know much about the man, other than he was the leader of the Resistance. but he had a wife named Creed who had gone into hiding. That he died because he wanted me and my comrades to live. I owed him, so I sought her out and did what I could. It'd never make up for it, I knew, but it was better than nothing. A way to pass the time until you found me. And it's their fault, isn't it? It's like the moment he took off the mask, he couldn't hold anything back. After all the effort Conrad went through to save his life, I thought it'd be a shame for it to go to waste. So I accepted his help. I knew it couldn't last, and you'd find me one day. I'm unarmed. I surrender. Do with me what you will. Got nothing to do. The way I see it, the skulls died that day in the tower. But why would you? Because sometimes you've got to try not hitting the other person back. Otherwise, we'll all have bruised knuckles and bloody noses. I don't know what to say. Thank you. I appreciate you agreeing to look the other way. Conrad would too, I'd like to think. You wanted to give them another chance. It's not my place to take it away. Goddamn dust getting in my eyes. We honor the dead by living well, by carrying on their legacy, as in many ways you carry on Conrad's. But you mustn't forget to spend time with the people dearest to us while we can. You still have both your parents, yes? You ought to go and see them. I'm sure they think about you every day. Yes, I'll do just that. It's on the way back, so if it's alright with you, I'd like to pay a visit to the Peering Stones. Thanks. It's been too long since I saw my mother and father. Mother and father. Yep, that makes sense. So warm. Good Lord in heaven, am I happy that I have air conditioning, even though the air conditioning definitely has an effect on me. Ah yes, the Harem King. Oh, there she is, the pride of the M tribe. Only wish you had sent word in advance, so we could have begun preparations for the feast. Please, Father, we're only here for a short time. We had business in the peaks, and I'll thank you to stop with the pride of the tribe rubbish. Now, what's the word come to if a father can't dote on his daughter? And besides, it's true. You ought to know by now how much your sisters look up to you. Aye. It's nothing but look at Naga going out and getting things done, moving up the ranks in resistance, bringing honor to the M tribe. Yeah, it's somebody else speaking, yeah. People be telling that story for years, you know. How you rode Abda through a storm of cannon fire to the top of the Valadina with nothing but a satchel of glamour prisms, and won the day. Pity you've got no skills other than soldiering, though. Your cooking's especially bad. Meant to ask, Father. We're short of wood for arrows. Meant to go and gather some myself, but I wasn't sure where I had to search. Gather, child. You should have learned by now that you'll have little luck finding suitable trees near our village. Better to trade for the wood. You know, I started a fund for the widows and orphans of the resistance soldiers who died in battle. We've raised a great deal of gil through the collectible trade, and in the process I've made friends with a lot of merchants. If there's anything the village lacks, maybe I could use those connections to get you what you need. So, little Nago has taken up a new trade. If I choose between bartering with a stranger in Algier or relying on my own daughter, then it is hardly a choice at all. I'll be in touch then. I promise you won't regret this. Right, we should hurry back to the Reach. With me then. You know, like the entire, like, well, I guess, nah, sorry, nah, scratch that. I was thinking about the inner workings of these tribes and them basically reproducing, is what it comes down to. Because you only have one, like, you know, you have one nun, who is, you know, the only one allowed to sire children. But then I was thinking, like, so it's just all children from the same mom, and then another Tia needs to go into the tribe to continue with making children, otherwise they would turn into incest, or maybe they don't have problems with incest. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't sound too great. Thanks again for accompanying me, Lynn. I know it ended up being a lot more complicated than expected. Right then, I promised my father I'd help the village, and I mean to do just that. I'm in the market for sundry goods, and if you could help, I'd be most grateful. You'll still get your bit, as will the fund. Everyone will be happy in the end. You've my word on that. I'm counting on you, partner. Right, and then we have the next delivery stuff, so I'll be right back. Right, I'm back for another, and hopefully the final week of, well, at least Monago deliveries. There's still Kurenai that I have to, well, if I do this week's stuff, I still need to do one more week of her shenanigans. And then we're off into the magical land of weekly Dome and Restoration. For another, insert. I think it's 3 months in total, probably. Anyway, let's just not think about that. Everyone in the village was overjoyed to receive our supplies. Both the quality and quantity surpassed our expectations. It puts my mind at ease puts my mind at ease to know that the tribe has what it needs, and that we'll be able to continue sending regular payments to the beneficiaries of our fund for the foreseeable future. Mother, what are you doing here in the Reach? I know you're awfully busy with your duties in the fund, but there was something I wanted to say when you visited before but couldn't. Come home, Nago. Alamigo is free. You've done enough for these people. Come home and be with your family again. But Mother, I have responsibilities here. To the families of your comrades, I know. And I think what you're doing is wonderful, but I worry you place their needs ahead of your own. You deserve to live your own life, to do what you want, what makes you happy. I'm doing what makes me happy, Mother. Don't you see? Helping these people is in this way, and there's so much more we can do. I know it's not the life you had in mind for me. It's not what I had in mind when I was younger either. But after everything I've been through, everything I've shared with my brothers and sisters in arms, I can't just walk away. It won't make up for what they've lost. No amount of gil weighs the same as a loved one's soul. But it's better than nothing. So no, I won't go back. This is the life I chose, and I have no regrets. Still, I have that same fire in your eyes and steel in your voice you had when you said you wanted to join the Resistance. Ugh. Can't blame a mother for trying, can you? I respect your decision, and I'll say no more on it. All I ask is that you come and visit more. Much more. I'll see what I can do, Mother. Well, that was unexpected, though not entirely unwelcome. It's good to remember where you came from, and why you did what you did. Anyway, now that we've finished with our efforts to help my village, I'd like to concentrate our efforts solely on doing what we can for the Resistance and the families in need. With your help, that is, assuming I can still count on it. Whatever you're able, whatever you're able, that's weird, and willing to provide is all I ask. Okay, I needed to continue reading. Satisfaction up! Champion of widows and orphans. Hey, yo. So your efforts, the fund will provide substantial benefits to the families of the fallen Resistance fighters for some time. Seems, however, that Monago has a different sort of favor to ask of you. Okay, I was wondering, where is the next quest? If there is even a quest still. So I imagine you're wondering exactly what sort of deliveries I had in mind. Oh no. Frankly, I say, why not focus on ourselves and what Resistance could use? Materials always appreciated, among other things. Rebuilding Alamigo is going to take everything we can muster. Artisans like you will have a reliable I can't read client in us. Everything you've got and more, we'll take it. This is why I hate. You see, this is what I hate about video games. It appeals to the male fancy. No. This is what I hate about having to record weekly, small little bits every week, because it's so difficult, for me to stay in the groove. If I record every day a little bit, then I would always be able to stay in the groove of recording and doing commentary. Especially reading. That's not even about commentary, it's especially about reading. That's the biggest issue. Well, anyway, that's it for this episode. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Hello There Alarms. We replied more Final Fantasy XIV. And next episode, let's see. Well, I think it's gonna be another custom delivery. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be another custom delivery episode. And then it's just gonna be Bastia. What am I saying? Bastia? I've been playing too much Bastia. Help me, please. Now, then it's going to be more Dome and Restoration until that is done. And then we're going to start with Shadowbringers. Goodbye.